And over here we have our peppers. There's just like 1,000,000 of these chili peppers in here. And I haven't really eaten many of these. These are hot. They're hot. But yeah, they're beautiful little peppers. I may freeze a little of them or something, I don't know. But there's just more than any 10 humans could possibly eat on this first little group of peppers here. And then there's some of the long chilies. They're turning red too. And they're hot also. Very hot. Now here's one that I will be definitely eating when they turn, is these bell peppers here. And these are gorgeous bell peppers right here. But there's a lot of bell peppers. I don't know if I can fully do justice to this or not about just how many bell peppers are in here. But there is just a ton of bell peppers in there, and they're right now at the top of this cage. The cage is about 3 foot tall. Let's see if I can show a little bit better on this other side here just how many of these bell peppers are in there. And they're really nice and big too. There's my fingers for some scale. But yeah, huge amount of bell peppers. And here's what I've really been eating the most of, is these banana peppers. I really do like these hot banana peppers, and I've been getting 1 or 2 a day off of here, and they're still just loaded with banana peppers. I mean, there's a pretty typical one right there. At first they're real green, and then they turn kind of almost to a yellow, but not really like a banana, but they're somewhat yellow. Just more of these hot chili peppers. They're hot. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the peppers. Now let's head on down and look at our okra and beans that's down here at the other lower garden, we'll call it. Okay, I am approaching the lower garden. These are my beans. You can tell that pretty much are all almost at the top of the stakes there, right along through there. And last year when I had kind of a bust on the beans on this mesh stuff here, only about every other one. I only had beans climbing on about every other one, and I have to get down here to, oh, there went a Mexican bean beetle that dropped. I was going to show it. The ubiquitous Mexican bean beetle. Evil! But yeah, these are probably the healthiest beans I have ever grown in my entire life. If I can keep the Mexican bean beetles from eating all of the things, there is going to be just tons and tons and tons of beans on these things. I just want you to look at all the blooms that's on these things. And of course this is the same row of beans that I planted, and they got waterlogged and they died, same as died, and yellow, and then I replanted and then they still look yellow, and then I miracle growed them about 5 days in a row, and now I just want you to look at these suckers. These are going to be just, I mean, these are really going to be great. I never have had a crop that looked quite this good. All I got to do is just keep the bugs off of them. And here's my 2 celebrity tomatoes, which were waterlogged also, and they never have really recovered and looked very good. Although I never really tried miracle growing them quite as much as I did this beautiful bunch of beans there. Okay, and here is my okra. The okra is probably 18 inches tall, which, it's nothing like last year, but I am eventually going to have some good okra here. It's got some little bitty buds there in the center, even though it is only about 18 inches tall. But yeah, I'll wind up with some pretty good okra here, just not like last year. And right here, in my last video, I never really covered it, but I had a white cover cloth over there to keep the birds from attacking it, or rabbits from attacking it. But that is some more cucumbers. So it doesn't really matter that the cucumbers up in the main garden are about Kaputski, because I've got these here coming on, and it really won't be that long before. See that? One more. I'll tell you, the Mexican bean beetles are just ridiculous. I mean, it's totally ridiculous about these things. And they didn't used to be in here. I didn't used to have to deal with these little evil things. But yeah, they're just all over everything. But even though they're all over everything, the only thing they really do a huge amount of damage to here's my beans. See this here? This little mat, I've got one that's longer that I roll out here, and I'll lay down and I scoot along the bottom right there, looking at the underside of all them leaves, or as many as I can, picking bugs off, but more importantly, picking the seed clusters off. And I showed these last year, but let's see if I can find one here to show you. Okay, that wasn't too difficult to find a seed cluster. It's right there. Come on, focus. Right there. Mexican bean beetle seed cluster. Believe you me, if you don't get out here every few days and just go over these things with a fine-tooth comb and squish these seed clusters, there's really not much point in planting beans, hardly. I'll probably find, oh goodness, probably about 15 seed clusters like that. And there's hundreds of little larvae in each seed cluster, so yeah, it's best not to miss too many of them. And as you can see from the blooms here, I hope you can see from the blooms, there's just going to be just a ton of beans on these things eventually. This is going to be a bumper crop. You can see the little bitty bean. Can you see a little bitty bean right there? Little bitty bean right there. And the thing about these beans are, when they're little, it's easy to keep the Mexican bean beetles off of them. You just come down through and in just a matter of minutes you can get them all. But as they get bigger, it just becomes exponentially more difficult to find all of them. So in the end, they wind up winning, kind of. But you just hope you can stave off the inevitable long enough to get a decent crop out of them. And right here is a good example of a Mexican bean beetle in its larval stage right there. That's really when they actually do most of their damage. Evil. Evil. Each one of them will hatch out and eventually become a hard-shelled Mexican bean beetle, bean munching machine. And there's another one of these stupid Mexican bean beetles. Evil. 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 Less evil. Okay, and here's a sample of the tomatoes I've been getting this year. They've been not nearly as many as last year, probably only half to a third as many, but they're just much bigger. These are like super large tomatoes. I'm getting quite a bit of cracking on some of them, but that's because of the drought that we've had. So we'll have a drought and then I'll water the smack out of them. So uneven moisture is one thing that causes your cracking like this. And I've had quite a bit of, you call this cat facing, but it's really just, only if you was going to try to sell your tomatoes or something with all this cosmetic stuff matter that much. So that's kind of hard and dry, so it doesn't hurt anything. And I heard Twish was naming all her tomatoes, so I've named a few of mine here. This here is Smile. And this one here is Diamond Ring, I'm calling that one. And this one is Butthole. And this one is Teletubby. And this one is, well, we'll just let you name it in the comments, I guess. Evil. Evil. Uh-oh. Okay, so that's it for this garden vlog here on Sunday, July, June, August. On Sunday, June, crap! On Sunday, August the 2nd. Bye, everybody.